We're doing the Tony Hawk episode, everybody.
Kind of by no, we're not. We're not.
We're not. But we are going to talk about Goldfinger. Let's start the show.
Hey! What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. This song is actually like the entire beginning of our relationship. This is kind of the first time we ever interacted. It's the start of the band. This song is the reason the show exists. Am I overblowing that, or is that accurate?
100% accurate. It's only anecdotes today, folks. So B-U-C-L-E, B-U-C-K-L-E. I didn't even spell buckle. I was like thinking about how to come into the show and I immediately botched the spelling of a pretty simple word. Buckle up, buckle up, buckle up.
You've got some nice vibrato, dude.
Oh, buckle up.
All right. So should we take it back to the beginning?
Let's take it all the way back. Yeah, no, I think you're right. No hyperbole at all. You don't even have to buckle up. I think we're just going to be slow. I mean, it's very early. I don't think things were getting even that crazy. You probably showed me this song. I don't recall. I wasn't a big video game guy, so I wouldn't have been playing Tony Hawk in my house or known about Goldfinger or even know anything close to about what Wikipedia will refer to later on in the show as the third wave of ska. I have to imagine this was on my radar because of you. What's your recollection of all of this?
Dude, I mean, this is another one of those scenarios where I thought I heard it from you. So, like, I don't know. You know, it might be. So, okay, I do remember, we're going to bring him up later on in the show, but this guy, Dave, came over to my house once. He was my stepbrother's friend. And apparently you were there that day as well, because you guys introduced me to Homestar Runner, I think RuneScape, and ska within like 30 seconds of each other.
Pretty big day for the show. And you. And me.
And there's this thing where like I didn't know what ska was, and you couldn't just Google it in the year 2000 and
none of the waves.
3?
Not the first wave of ska, not the second wave of ska, not the third wave of ska. Anyway, yeah. It might have even been, okay, here's my guess. Here's my theory. Dave's older sister, one of the two, had access to possibly Napster even, but came home from college, ? And there was burned CDs in Dave's house that wound up in either your atmosphere by way of your stepbrother or into mine from being in that basement with Dave on his new computer or something like that.
But
right?
Yeah, I mean, but like, so I heard the term ska. I heard punk ska because they had me download all of these songs on LimeWire and it was punk ska. And I thought ska meant cover song because I didn't realize this, but I was pretty much only downloading Me First and the Gimme Gimme songs, which were just pop punk covers of shit. So like I was downloading, I would just type in punk ska and be like, what the is all this? And it was like actual ska music, but I was looking for like pop punk and I just had no idea like what anything meant. But somehow, and this was when I was in like 7th grade. So this is before I even went to the school where I met you. Later on we meet and I like, for some reason, I think of Mrs. D's.
Isn't it crazy that I was just extremely in your house for periods, stretches of time before
and no idea. But I feel like
I would have slept over, I think, multiple times. Maybe you were elsewhere or something.
It's possible. But I think I remember Mrs. D's class when we decided to actually start the band. And I think it was because at some point in 8th grade, we were all listening to this song and we wanted to cover this song. So James, who was like one of the main music Sherpas, was going to sing. He had books full of poetry. There were like 9 people at my house. And all we did was play this song over and over and over and over because it's so like, this was my introduction to like the pop punk that I would end up loving for the rest of my life. It literally like wrote the formula of like every different part of a song. And it's just perfect. It's perfect.
It is so perfect. It's, can we talk about, do you have any opinions from an audio standpoint we always joke that we're fake music journalists, and that when we get too far into this side of stuff, that like, we end up being hypocrites or whatever. But I'm going to use the word sonically, damn it. Sonically, like, it feels important to everything we wanted to do with our selves, just with or without music. I don't know, did the sound of it pop to you at the time? And in retrospect, is there something special about the production of this particular cover that has staying power? Or I just wanted to pick your brain there, because there is something so perfect about it. Even now, I don't know, listening to it this week, it was it's like, golly, goddamn. And it's the perfect, they make it their own. It's it's a good tribute to the song itself, but even down to the guitar tones and the way, I don't know, I'll let you run with the baton a little bit here, but something about it just works.
No, man, I mean, it's really good. It's like John Feldmann at his finest, I think. I've got opinions about the trajectory of his career, I guess.
Producer?
Yeah. No, I mean, John Feldmann's the singer of the band.
Oh.
And you know what? Not that I'm going to throw shade. He is more important to pop punk than probably anyone in existence, but this song was like, I really do enjoy that they brought in some of those like 80s synth pad elements to like and all that weird stuff. But then like the guitars and shit were just really heavy. Like, it might have been the most distortion I had heard on a not new metal song at this point.
There's something chuggy even about the dun 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 dun.
Well, dude,
like
yeah.
they slow elements of the song down later and live within the chugness of it all, but without overdoing it or being too heavy-handed. It's just kind of like, they really are rocking the out for being this third wave ska turned pop punk act covering an 80s German pop song. You know what I mean? Like, there's something extremely, and maybe I'm just talking like defending my 5th grade self or 6th grade self or whatever, but like, I don't know, it sounded heavy at the time to me, at least the tone and the distortion. Like you said, like at that point in your life, you're just like, I don't feel too out of place by saying that this rocks, dude. This freaking rocks, man.
No,
I'm just getting really excited about the whole energy of all of it.
No, I mean, again, like, this song has everything that I would grow to love about pop punk. It has power chords, distortion pedals. It might be the first time I was ever cognizant of what a palm mute was. It has halftime. It has those chugga-chuggas. And the first time, that's just kind of like composition stuff. But when it comes to production, it might be the first time I ever noticed a reverse snare swell. So when it goes into the it has that like that huge like thwack before like the breakdown of the main riff.
Yeah.
It was like the first time I'd ever heard that. And I remember being like in my room, like, how do I make my drum sound like that? Like, not knowing what post-production is.
Right.
Just
right.
What drum is that?
Well, I
Where
remember,
do I find it?
I'll go next in terms of embarrassing shit. But like, I remember looking up the tabs for this song and looking at the rhythm guitar stuff, because in our high school band, the bass was essentially mirroring the rhythm guitar at all times, like as any garage band might, for the majority of whatever they're playing. But I looked at the guitar tab on accident for the riff, the bump. I didn't even know that's what I was hearing. I was just like, oh, I should know this on bass. So I just like stretched my fingers, and that was the one time, I think maybe the first time, I was in my room with the little tiny amp I started out with for the band, only playing, because it's I think what makes it so appealing to us at the time was when we looked up the frets for the power chords and even the lead parts, it was like very approachable and learnable and easy to wrap your head around. Like you said, it had this like pop punk basics toolkit kind of built into the whole production and writing and everything about it. And I just had I just remember one day of my life was listening to that on repeat, and the dun 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 dun, and really getting hung up for hours on the dun 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 dun. Like I was like, how does any human do that with their fingers? And being so, you know what I mean? Still quite, but like to this day, that and like Carousel by Blink are two of the maybe 5 things I could think of off the top of my head that aren't like Smoke on the Water. You know what I mean? That like for whatever reason, I just spent a long time like going up and down the fretboard trying to play that, but yeah, just, I don't know, loads of fun. Like even the lead part was approachable in a way that like a junior high garage band could like get really psyched about.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it was the first chord progression I ever played. It was just in E standard. It's like open 2, 5, 7, like all on the E string. It was so simple.
Yeah, well, yeah, again, maybe we're just so high on it because it expanded our minds specifically at that time, and there are other songs that might do it better or whatever. But for the sake of this show, so then you go the open to what is it like 5/7 or whatever.
Yeah.
But and then a few years later you become aware of From Under the Cork Tree and Sugar Going Down, and they tune the top string down or whatever.
Yeah,
but
drop D.
So similarly coming up from that open strum up, along the again in 7th grade I was like counting dots, not knowing the names of notes, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, they're just following the dots. They're just at some point we're another garage band that, you know what I mean? Just like we're all just strumming power chords or whatever essentially. But that's not true. There's so many different variations and reasons why, we were inferior in so many ways, but there was something approachable about just like seeing it in that way through that lens that was extremely exciting.
Yeah. It's just going to be one of those episodes where like, it's so
I know.
good!
It really is. No, you had multiple. Okay. So Dave had to have played a role at some point. Cause at one point I remember being in Lake Cliff. You weren't around. Like, yeah, Corey's stepbrother was on the band bus. This is after you had gotten to Iroquois. So this is like 2 years would have passed that you've been listening to the song. And he was like either amazed or annoyed or both or perplexed that you had like, and his claim was like close to half a dozen versions of this song on your iPod, and that it's all you listen to and from like some band competition. This is like could be an incredibly warped memory, but part of me is like, honestly, that might be accurate, and I would love Tom all the more for, but I imagine you, Alex Burtis, and Dave Hall, and a lot of people just kind of like swap an iPod, like, hey, check this out, and you just, that weekend, getting back into Goldfinger or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I definitely just had the Goldfinger singles on my phone, so I had Superman, I had Open Your Eyes, which like I never really listened to like screamy music at the time, and that like made me really uncomfortable hearing like screaming. I was so scared of it. And some of the stuff that was like less ska than they used to be, which there is kind of that progression through their career, but I would not doubt that I had, just a ton of different versions of this on my phone, even if it was just the same one over and over, just so I could like listen to it on repeat. Because I didn't know the
part of me is just
function.
like maybe there was a version that had the full German verse or something.
I don't recall having more than one, but that doesn't mean it wasn't what happened.
Well, it also doesn't mean like the truth wasn't getting stretched. It doesn't you know what I mean? Just like in a junior high dudes talking in a junior high basement. Like I'm sure the fact checkers at CNN would go nuts trying to follow. Wait, who's hooking up with who? Oh my God, this is all over the place. We were just talking about Goldfinger. I think people who listen to the show, to put it in the context, this song did for us what I know you're about to tweet at us about, what I know Boys of Summer by the Ataris did for you. Just like this very approachably explosive pop punk cover from the 2000s that went harder than it probably should. And I think it did similar things for us that it did for some of you that I think that have tweeted that song to us in the past, that we should cover that video and everything. And I think we did a covers draft and ignored it.
I don't know the band at all or the song they covered.
It's good. I have to give it up for sure. But for whatever reason, at the time, that it was 99 Red Balloons by Goldfinger for us. So, as far as I can go, from what I can tell, maybe there's similar experiences there. Our first 4 in a Park cover, Zach would have been the singer. We were playing this over and over and over. I'm going to, over under 8 months straight on repeat. Like, would it be over or under 8 months, Tom? Like
over,
that we just
for sure.
Did your mom ever say anything or get uncomfortable with how much it was only this song being played or listened to by you and us?
I think she was pretty disassociated when we were practicing at home.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It has everything. For me as a drummer, doing that clack go, like slowing stuff down. It was just like I felt so like fun. Such a baller.
No, there's a way to get hype, and all it takes is a few little, like the Cartel halftime thing. Like give me a chicka chicka or a little, a nice pre-chorus drum hit or whatever. There's a few bag of tricks that'll do it every time, and
every time
it's true for 20 years. Yeah,
totally.
So I was going to ask you. You took German in high school, so I was like assuming you would have taken a stab at this, but it sounds like you didn't.
No, and actually, when we listened to the song in German, and after I learned what the term Luftballon was, I felt so betrayed because Luftballon just means air balloon. So like red balloon, Okay, I knew nothing about the original, the NENA or NENA, whatever version, but apparently they wrote 2 versions of the song. There is one in all German, and then they wrote an English version that has different lyrics, similar concepts near the end, I guess, but different lyrics to fit the rhymes.
Was the all German version as alluding to a warring element, or?
Yeah, totally. But there was like totally different, like the overall theme was the same, but they were like much different references and stuff. They reference like Captain Kirk and stuff. Like it's pretty interesting. I actually have them pulled up on DeepL Translate, which is my favorite translation website. But no, I never actually tried the lyrics, but I was stunned to find out Red was just in addition to an English version.
Interesting. Because yeah, there's multicolored balloons in the video here, and it sounds like the red aspect might have been trivial, although it feels pretty necessary for the American version and the cover that came later. But again, like you're saying, it might just be a translation thing.
I don't know. I do remember Zach doing the German version
because like in the Goldfinger cover, like there's a verse or he speaks in German for a portion of the song. I guess
he does the original for one of the verses, and I do remember Zach singing that part of it in German, and we must have been covering this song for so long that I knew a little bit of German, which would have been like sophomore year of high school. So we were covering it for 3 years.
A full half decade of our lives was just like getting down to every note and word in every version of this song. Like, yeah, anyway.
But like, I remember Zach singing the German version, and he was just like making shit up. And I was like, hey man, should we like print out the German lyrics and like try to get them right? And Zach's like, dude, I'm doing it perfectly. And I was like, okay. And it was just like nonsense, absolute nonsense.
I think all of us, to be fair to Zach, suffered from illogical high school confidence.
Oh, dude,
came out in different ways over the years. But that sounds like in this context, a pretty hilarious version of him taking a turn at that.
No, that's
because it seemed like pretty clear that it was not the case. But
no shade to Zach at all. My best friend.
Oh no! If we want to show receipts, it would not go well for me or you. I don't think. He's a very talented musician, and it would be not a good use of time for us to dwell there. Okay, points for being in Scrubs, I guess. Just the original, which also slaps. By the way, like it's a terrific 80s era pop song.
Was the English or the German version in though?
It wasn't long. It was just a little dream sequence cutaway where JD is treating a German patient. He's like, I wish I could connect with him somehow. And it just shows them popping balloons, and he's doing this little swimmy, it's zany as Scrubs is want to be. Anyway, points just because we like Scrubs. And if you're listening, Zach and Donald, we still want to get on Fake Doctors, Real Friends.
Ooh.
Specifically the episode, My Point of No Return, where we talk about Alive with the Glory of Love. We want
They go nuclear.
It's the reason we do the whole show, honestly. I think it still might be the reason. So we love you. We love the show. Okay, moving on. Let's get to the fast facts. Is that all right?
Well, I want to bring up just a couple things. So
no, please, by all means.
Definitely watch the German music video, because we kind of poke fun at the drummer from the starting line looking like his head is just in a different place. The drummer in the German video is like chewing gum and looking like he would rather be anywhere else in the fucking world than
Interesting.
in this music video. And there's literally bombs going off behind them. It's truly insanity. And I did find a version from 2018 live in a stadium of, is it NENA doing the German version, and they have guitars in it, so it's almost like in between the original and the Goldfinger cover, and it is honestly incredible. It's so good. We'll put the link in the show notes.
It's a hit song, Tom. It's a hit song.
It's so good. It's so good.
Okay,
let's go for the fast facts.
You may not have needed to buckle up for the anecdotes because they were a little easygoing, but I would dare say that the first paragraph of this Wikipedia page for Goldfinger goes harder than anything we've ever read on the show. And it goes as such. Goldfinger is an American punk rock and ska punk band from Los Angeles, California, formed in 1994. In their early years, the band was considered a contributor to the movement of third wave ska, a mid-1990s revitalization in the popularity of ska. However, the releases of Open Your Eyes and Disconnection Notice saw the band shed most of its ska influence, and they have been more commonly placed in the punk rock genre in later years.
Traitors! Sellouts!
I mean...
turning your back on third wave ska.
For all the touring you did with Real Big Fish, what the f*** happened to you? No, that might be the best opening paragraph in Wikipedia I've ever read. I'm like, I suppose that is the story of Goldfinger. That's pretty, I'm like, didn't feel the need to even record the episode after reading that. I was like, I learned a lot and I'm done with it now. I mean, I learned that there are at least 3, if not more, waves of ska. I learned a lot of things, but then you think about their older records. I'm like, thanks, first paragraph of the Goldfinger Wikipedia page. That's enough for me to go on. Anyway, I just thought it was a shout out because we've seen some pretty brutal Wikipedia entries while doing the show. And anyway, that about sums it up. Anyway, formed by former Electric Love Hogs member John Feldmann on vocals and guitar, Simon Williams on bass, please don't put the cursor while I'm reading the words because all I see is Tom Kelly in green. Former drummer of Buffalo, New York's Zero Tolerance, Darren Pfeiffer on drums. I know you're a nervous clicker, so I know I can hear what you're doing, even though you're probably muting. And Charlie Polson on guitar. You mentioned you have opinions on Feldmann.
Well, first of all, John Feldmann is my production great grandfather, and he's probably really disappointed in me. So John Feldmann taught Paul Levitt, who taught Taylor Larson, who taught me. So, yeah.
Interesting.
My great production grandfather. So, John Feldmann, he's been around for a very long time producing a lot of bands. And he kind of put the pop punk industry in a total chokehold, and I think it's become more and more diluted over time because of his influence. Oh my God, I'm sorry, John. I hope you're not listening. I think it started really strong, but for all the jokes about Travis Barker having his hand in everything in modern pop punk, you have to realize John Feldmann is there as well. He produced Avril Lavigne's Love Sucks. He produces a lot of stuff for and with Travis Barker. He did California for Blink-182. I think of him as kind of the brains behind All Time Low. So he did a lot of that stuff with Paul Levitt. And I think of John as this kind of
brains behind All Time Low.
So if you listen, so after All Time Low kind of got big, working with Paul and John, you started, not those assholes.
My God.
You started hearing a lot of bands just doing the same thing. And when people talk about overproduction, I think of John Feldmann in 2007. Everything was just so, I don't know, it was getting kind of sterile as everyone wanted to be super pop punk. And it's just gotten more aggressive over time. And the production has gotten weirdly more hollow and slappier and just totally a brick wall of just non-dimensional sound. Again, John Feldmann is the best thing that has ever happened to this industry, but there's I don't know. And it's just my opinion. I would, totally respect anyone else that had a differing opinion, but Paul Levitt has been so influential to the industry because of his production, songwriting, co-writing, producing, composing, etc.
Interesting. So there's no surprises that, I guess, falling in love with this cover and then using the tools from learning this cover to appreciate the next 8 years of music just tracks in your mind. It's not an accident.
Right. I mean, okay, I'll give you some of the stuff that he did. He produced The Used. We have Seosin. We've got Plain White Tees, For Your Strong, Good Charlotte, Panic at the Disco, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. He did some co-writing on Attack. Papa Roach, got to throw them in anywhere you can. Sleeping with Sirens. Yeah, Blink-182, Morgan Charlotte, Biffy Clyro.
Which some of our UK listeners have begged us to listen to, which, interesting.
State Champs. I mean, just tons of shit. And yeah, producer, co-writer of Avril Lavigne's Love Sucks, and Mod Sun. Yeah, so he's everywhere. As much as Travis Barker is everywhere now, John Feldmann has been there for the past 2 decades plus. Just not as many people know his name as they should.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I'm just going to very clunkily move on to the next bullet point on our fastbacks, but sorry to strand you on that island. No, I mean, it's interesting to watch it come full circle because in the music video, we'll get to this in a bit, he's coming out with the tiny ring, earrings, goatee.
Yeah.
Very, I don't know if it's Everclear or Sugar Ray-ish, but kind of a spiky platinum blonde. We always joke that the dream of the 90s was alive until at least 2002. But he's coming out 90s as hell. And if you look at some of the album covers, so like you think about MXPX and some of those like capital P punk, pop punk acts from the 90s and everything like that. You look at some of the zany, like weird alien chasing person, like, so it was an extremely 90s existence until apparently they took over 2000s pop punk just in general. But it's interesting to see them at this moment in time, which I don't know if, I mean, we use terms like continental divide on the show, usually on the weeks when we talk about something, and it's just like, this is special because we're talking about it today. And this might not be the dividing line, but it feels like, maybe
in this moment
separates.
It does.
Right. We're going to say it. And please tweet at us to disagree with us at _reminiscent FM on Twitter, which you all definitely take that and run with it. So, which we're glad about. So like, the thing I appreciate most about our listeners is that you are extremely willing to follow up on that. Anyway, so it's kind of just like this cover. And before that, it's like this extremely capital P punk, pop punk 90s act. And again, there was a third wave ska elements. We'll talk about the Real Big Fish tour in a minute. But yeah, everything that came after is just kind of like, not only, again, the absolutely in fuego opening paragraph to their Wikipedia page, but like, it's interesting. It's almost like they should go into not only have their sound changed to be pop punk, but like, it's almost like it'd be criminal not to mention the production aspect to the lives of the band members that also followed. Anyway. Okay. Third. Next.
Bullet point. Third LP was Stomping Ground, which was released on March 28th, 2000. The album sold poorly in the U.S., but was a modest hit in some European countries, thanks to their cover of Nina's 99, quote, Luftballoons, end quote, sung partly in German.
Thanks, Patbot.
I will say this, though, utterly chaotic. Whatever the like cartoony chaos of the 90s covers, I'd take that over whatever's going on this album cover, by the way. It is just straight up wild. There's a little bit of like, I think if there's a few Sum 41 parallels, it's the fire and eye laser type vibe of the album cover here and the way they put their knees together when they jump in the video later, which we'll get to. So there's something about the half hour of power 2000s-ness, turn of the millennium, pop punk energy that kind of, I'm sure a lot of bands were kind of embodying. But anyway, that's the last time you guys will ever hear Patbot. Actually, I can't guarantee that. Okay. They actually toured in Europe in March 2001, but then in July and August of 2001, they went on a co-headlining tour of the U.S. with Real Big Fish, dubbed the Crouching Fish Hidden Finger Tour, with support from Zebrahead, Homegrown, Mest, The Movie Life, and RX Bandit.
The Movie Life, wow. Crouching Fish Hidden Finger?
That's just reading the teleprompter, Tom. Goldfinger. So what's funny about this is we should be doing an episode about Superman, but these are the movies and video games that this song appeared in. Again, this feels like we should have done Superman for sure. Anyway, 99 Red Balloons is featured in Not Another Teen Movie. Makes sense. Eurotrip checks out. Our Lips Are Sealed and Rocket Power Race Across New Zealand, which I tweeted about this before we recorded this episode. That shit is definitely getting picked in the soundtrack episode that we're never going to do. But Rocket Power Race Across New Zealand. Yeah, it's got a pretty solid soundtrack. 99 Red Balloons also featured in Gran Turismo 3, A-Spec. And I made a note here. Other Goldfinger songs are featured in other video games, but there's no need to go there today.
No need. All right, everyone, I hope you're enjoying this episode about the literal moment Pat and I became best friends. But please allow me just a minute to thank our Patreon supporters. These are our top tier contributors, our Council of Elders. In this group, we have Johnny Leftwich, Jason Carey, Chris Lukey, Nathan Eshelman, Drew Edwards, Carrie Sanchez, Melanie, Devin Booz, Reed Gober, Cora Lusty, Michael Beatty, and Justin Latham. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. It really means the world to us, and it affords us the opportunity to try some cool new things, and we're really excited to keep trying and rolling out new things with your support, making it all possible, of course. If you'd like to check out the Patreon, you can head to patreon.com/reminiscent to see the 3 tiers we offer. Hopefully there's something for everyone there. And if you're not interested, no worries. We're just really, really happy to have you here. Alrighty, back to the episode.
Okay, music video. We got platinum spikes, goatee, suits, earrings.
Wow.
Said it before, I'll say it again. The dream of the 90s was alive. Very alive. I don't know how many times you said that, but I think it's established. It's canon at this point.
Yeah, what's the first thing we see? Is it the band, or is there a girl running through an alley?
Okay, so I thought it was just one evening at a concert hall. I think it's multiple shows of them playing this, which is probably one of my favorite types of music videos. It's just a beloved song and them playing that beloved song, and the music video is just crowds really connecting with it, and then they just mash it together.
Dude,
this is that, plus balloons, of course. Plus a girl wandering those concert halls that those strings are never tied together at the end at all. She's just continues to wander, and maybe she was with him at the little toy shop when they were kids or something, buying bags of balloons with the money they got. That's my best guess. The innocence of the balloon versus the realities of what they were singing about originally, perhaps. But I was going to make a note about there's a lot of non-red balloons in this video for a song about red balloons. But
I know.
To your point about the original German lyrics, I'm going to take that. I don't even know why I said it out loud this time. But yeah, I guess that would make sense, though. It's mostly about the Luftballoons, Tom.
Well, yeah, I mean, because in the original, there's not a lot of red balloons because the original isn't about red balloons. What is funny is in the original video, like they didn't have helium balloons. So it's just like a few balloons on the ground. It's kind of the saddest music video I've ever seen, but it's also amazing. Yeah, lots of balloons, but I think it's an interesting thing to not have them all be red. It is crazy to me still.
One thing I kind of like about this is, just thinking about that first verse or the opening, the intro, there's no mentions of bridges in New Jersey or cutting anything open or getting inside anything, or, you know what I mean? It's just like, there's something so unique about you and I in a little toy shop and got a bag of balloons with the money we got. It's just refreshingly, again, the original pop song is a masterpiece, and this is just a cover of that. But it's just kind of nice. It's like, wow, so simple, so nice. I love this. It's just nice.
Yeah, I always liked the idea of it. Again, in the German translation, there's no children buying balloons. It's just the balloons are just there. Like there's no backstory of how they got there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's much less pleasant, I guess.
I know.
But I guess would be more of the political statement. But yeah, I kind of like the image in your mind there. Yeah, so the shots of the young girl, she's running wild around this concert hall. Having worked at Erie Civic Center, seeing the chaos that is behind the scenes at Disney on Ice and everything like that. Just Nemo's dad, Chief, and just blowing through cigs in the back hallways. One of the Wahlberg brothers kissing some random chick from Erie in between sets at a New Kids on the Block concert. Just like wild stuff. Yeah, she probably saw some crazy things in this video as the concert hall begins to fill up and they're playing different versions of the show. Maybe they're in a city multiple times over the course of a weekend or something. But in the pre-chorus here, that's when, like, I think you talked about the production itself very, pretty recently, but they start doing the knee together to the side of the guitar jumps.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to call them Sum 41 jumps, obviously, because this would have happened around the same time, if not sooner. But right. Visually, sonically, it's exactly what we aimed to achieve, I think, through now as we record this episode of a podcast where we talk about the music we listened to then. But it rules so hard. Nothing made more sense ever. And we have been pursuing how we felt, I think, in that moment ever since. Do you agree? I mean, like, them jumping to this and the way it sounded was inconceivably perfect in every way.
I do remember you and Zach trying to jump in the basement and just feeling like we could never quite get it right. Adam would never try, but it was like there was something so inconceivably cool about their stage presence that was so impossible for a 14-year-old to capture.
Well, yeah, you were like, jump, and I was like, cool, and I tried to jump as high as I could, not look good. You know what I mean?
And put the bass through the drywall.
Oh yeah, no, mistakes were made. Don't get me wrong. Again, that's why I didn't want to pile on for Zach just having like not being fluent in German, like at the age he was, because it's like if we went any further into those anecdotes, I'm putting holes in your walls and things like that. So like again, like Zach was rarely in the wrong there, but yeah, obviously like there's more coordination that could have happened, and we were just letting the music move us, and it was just oddly, I think would be probably the most apt word for it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like some of the bandmates in this video were shirtless and things like that, like a Newfound Glory type of thing. But I think it's just different shots, and it's Feldmann who's shirtless in a different version that we find out later in the video is just him, and it's just different performances.
There was some bald dude with veins popping out of his forehead going kind of fucking crazy too. There were suits, shirtless. Nothing was very cohesive in the video, but it still had all the charm of, I don't know, what you expect from a good pop punk video.
Thoughts on mid-song, a guitarist very intentionally and purposefully putting the guitar behind their back and grabbing the mic like they're really about to say something?
You know, Pat, guys only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting. For the singer to put the guitar behind their back and grab the microphone like they're about to sing something.
Yay or nay on that stage move, I think would be my main question. I mean, you're pretty limited in what you can do. We talk about like trademark stage moves all the time. Mic swinging, there's like 3+, maybe probably way more that people can claim it over the decades. Foot on the monitor, things like that. Yeah, I guess you're pretty limited, so why not? I say you got to be thumbs up, because if it's thumbs down, we're starting to whittle it down to not a few stage moves left.
No, I love it. I always thought the guitar behind the back was super cool. I remember I tried to do it once.
I got something to say.
I remember trying to do it once with my old Slammer hammer, which is like a knockoff of a Squire, which is already a knockoff of a Stratocaster. And that was the day I realize that you need to buy an accessory called a strap lock so that the guitar doesn't come
dude, I was just going to say. So the reason like when we were trying to do stage moves, it would go so awry was that we didn't know about strap locks at all. So like it would just come undone because it's like a shirt button would be more secure. You know what I mean? Like just like really, really unsafe working conditions. Again, we've mentioned OSHA several weeks in a row here on the show. Would not approve of the objects flying around in your basement while we were having practice and everything like that. But it's easier when the strap locks are on. We would come to learn soon, and easier still to injure yourself and others.
Fangs up, forks down, straps on.
Thoughts on this? At larger shows, bands having an illuminated sign or logo of the band you are watching hung in the background. For example, Weezer having the W with the 2 prongs lit behind them. In this video, Goldfinger has a very bright Goldfinger sign. I'm here for it, I think.
It's amazing. I mean, if our band had the budget, I would have it. I think there's something charming about Blink-182 just having a flaming on stage and not their own band name. But I would absolutely, I mean, I think that kind of stuff for like the stage presence is super fun. Usually only the bigger bands have it. But every now and then you get like a local band with scrims that they would like put in front of their amps. And I always thought that was like, oh, they're fucking legit. We should pay attention. It's great.
That's like Tom really likes School of Rock energy there, where you're just like, one good show can change the world, man. Light it up. Light it up, brother.
I'll tell you what, man. Every modern video these days that has like the flashing light warning always has me expecting what's actually happening in this video. And I have never seen a modern music video that has as much flashing as this one. It is almost nauseating to watch in a dark room like I'm usually in my studio. It is just, oh my God.
It's not a pleasant watch.
No, it's not.
I'll give you that.
They make you work for it. But it does start getting fun as some of the tropes pick up here.
Yeah, there's even like a pre-Fall Out Boy spin.
Yeah.
We talked about Less Than Jake being super influential, but Goldfinger, dude. There's some fart punk tropes in here, lighting a fart on fire. One of the band members pointing to a box of Trojans, just like super, like Blink-182 saw that and was like, we could do that like for 30 years, even though they would have existed as a band for quite a long time at this point. they're just putting a lot on tape here that would go on to rule the next 6 years in a pretty major way.
Yeah.
I'm extremely here to give Goldfinger all the credit in the world, I think, is what I'm saying.
No, it's great. It's just so good, man.
It is so good. Again, yeah, I'm a sucker. California by Phantom Planet is my favorite example of this, but just the band's on tour, shots of that, shots of them brushing their teeth, shots of them drinking liquor, shots of them playing different parts of the same chorus to different crowds, all reacting in different loving, endearing ways. I love it so much. It is my favorite genre of music video that we don't see quite as much as I'd like to do in this show, but it wouldn't make for a very good episode because they would all be the same, and I would just say this tirade over and over and over. I just really like it.
It is hard because like there's a lot of just kind of faux live videos. I think Proper Dose by The Story So Far is probably the best example in like modern music that does this extremely fucking well. I think this video is like a little weird because it seems like any of the live shots, almost none of it actually syncs up with what we're hearing in the song. Like the drummer's playing something totally different, the dude's singing something else, but it at least captures like the energy of what's happening in the show.
Yeah, I think, it might be a tough ask potentially to like edit it together perfectly, but maybe this was just like people have gotten better at videos in the last 20 years.
Think of Heroes Get Remembered, Legends Never Die. That's just a live video of absolute chaos happening in their hometown, and the only thing you see on screen is exactly what's happening in the song.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a smaller crowd. They were a smaller act. It might have been easier to put that together than someone as big as Goldfinger. And I know that from being at a War of Ages music video in Erie, Pennsylvania, in order to get a live music video, what they did was they played the recording over the speakers like 7 times in a row. It was not a performance. It was like a faux performance for the video. So it seems like maybe they were just pulling from whatever footage they had of the tours and worked with it rather than like doing a production of a video. You know what I mean?
I will say we did Anywhere But Here by Mayday Parade recently, and that was like 4 videos at once. This has felt like a lot of videos at once in the sense that I don't know where the hell that girl's wandering to. We never find out why.
She never shows
the
up
fart
again.
that gets lit comes out of absolute nowhere, as does the pointing at the box of Trojans. Like, okay. It's kind of like when Danny DeVito and keeps dropping the Trojan condoms at the fair in that one episode of Always Sunny. He's just like, oh, my Magnum condoms. It's just like, it's that out of nowhere and abrupt. You know, there's a skateboarder, like to complete the what we're about to see for the next 6 years in the 2000s, like energy of this video. For no reason at all, someone is skateboarding in this video for maybe 2.5 seconds. Also not addressed. So yeah, it is multiple videos at once, I think I would dare to venture to say. But, you know, I enjoyed it.
Well, the dude was skating in the empty stadium or auditorium or whatever. So it was like,
you're right.
Before
It's
the
no
show
more
started.
random than the lit fart for sure. But they just in the last third of the video, they just kind of start piling on.
Yeah. They ran out of B-roll real fast. I
And
think.
it's just like, show some balloons again, mail it home. We didn't aim very high with this one anyhow. So,
But it's great.
but it's weirdly influential and important. You know what I mean? Like, and again, we probably should have talked about a Goldfinger song first, not a Goldfinger cover first. And we probably should have talked about the Atari's cover first before talking about the Goldfinger cover first. But we just really like this one, and we felt it would be a good use of time. And maybe this one was more for us. You know, who's to say? But we'll be back again next week with another episode either way. Anyway, Tom, do you have anything more you'd like to add before we go tails between our legs into the post show?
No, let me read you the first verse of the German version translated to English. You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have some time for me? Then I'll sing a song for you of 99 balloons on their way to the horizon. Are you thinking of me right now? Then I'll sing a song for you of 99 balloons and something that comes from something? I think it might be a bad translation. It's supposed to be nothing. But basically, it's just like there's no toy shop. There's no boy and a girl. It's just you wake up and there's balloons. And then there's some lines about 99 jet planes. Each one was a great warrior. Thought they were Captain Kirk. There was a big fireworks show, and the neighbors did get it.
Everyone's a superhero. Everyone's a Captain Kirk.
no. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting that like some of the stories a little bit changed. It's interesting to think of just like a totally different version of the song. I think both. I don't know. I think like the cover of this again. You kind of had this like. I tend to shit talk music from the 80s a lot, and you were saying like they were writing good music. It was just the sounds that they were producing at the time were weird. And I think,
yeah, this is an amazing song, and I think there's like the actual proof in the pudding. And you know, we talk about the 4 Year Strong covers, the Newfound Glory covers maybe fits this a little better because they're children of the 80s, but you know, translates pretty well in those cases.
For sure.
You know, so it's definitely a testament to the, not even opinion, but fact at this point that just because synthesizer tech was like pretty raw at the time, like doesn't mean there weren't good songwriters writing good songs.
Right. For sure. For sure.
But you just keep talking your shit, Tom. You know, whatever, man. What the f ever. Yeah, no, I enjoyed this trip down memory lane. I think very fondly of, you know, because you practice your drums more than I practice my instrument. I think we've beat that joke to death on the show, but it was a legitimate joy seeing a tab that my limited smooth brain could understand and just try to tap along on the fretboard poorly for like hours. You know, there is a joy in that is pretty special that, I, for whatever reason, didn't love it enough to do that always. I mean, you talked to Jess Catella the other day and they were saying about how they used to just slam away in their rural garage with nothing else to do, you know, and just slam on the drums.
Yeah.
And that was never a passion of mine, but there is something very alluring about being trapped in that moment, and this song definitely did that for me, which was nice.
I still play this riff on guitar. I think it's fun. It is so fun.
There's an energy baked right into it on every aspect of it, every word, every note, everything is just really nice about it. So it was a great introduction, and it's the reason we're here right now. So
thanks, John Feldmann. Sorry about everything I said earlier.
Yeah, Tom just uncorked some crazy energy mid episode that was unrehearsed. I didn't see it in the notes, but you've been holding that in for a while. Sorry, John.
Sorry, John Feldmann.
The episode. Sorry, John Feldmann.
Let's give
Thanks
a song
for
of the
all
week.
Music we've listened to in our lives.
You got a song of the week?
I do. You know what? You guys knew I was going to do this, but Weezer started their series of Seasons albums that they're going to release. The first one was Spring, and Angels on Vacation. It's pretty fun. I don't know. If new Weezer comes out, I'm going to listen to it, and that one's all right. Was talking to a friend about all of the Weezer that's happened. It's plenty, and I just my take is consistently that they're not hurting anybody. They're just releasing music. You don't have to listen to it if you don't want to. So anyway, I'll pick that one as my song of the week.
So a lot of the music I've been listening to lately has been the stuff from Japan, which is like not on streaming at all. So I've been like buying CDs from Japan, but I actually found one of my favorite bands, Niafirenzu, has a 3-song EP on Apple Music. It's also on Spotify, but the song This Is really, really fun. It has almost like a Midwest emo-y kind of riff. I don't think it's like super indicative of their newer album Hello, but it's still really, really good. And I'm just excited that I found it online because it's also not in any of the CDs that I bought. So I can finally put one of their songs in the playlist. I'm pretty fucking hyped about it. So that's going to be mine for this week. And they are, I don't know, I might get their name tattooed on my knuckles. I fucking love this band so much.
Nice. Also, this is a bonus one. I don't know if I did this last week. I just can't remember anymore. But The Liars Club by Coheed. Did I do that one already?
I don't think so.
Anyway, that's also a song of the week. I've been jamming to that one pretty hard. I don't have any like new bands necessarily, but new stuff from Weezer and Coheed has been definitely in the rotation lately.
Cool beans, cool beans.
It's really good. It's so good. It's so good, Tom.
I'll check it out.
Like I rarely am like Tom, but Liars Club by Coheed, super rips.
Dope. All right. Well, let's head to the Patreon post show and figure out what the hell we never planned them. We got to start planning them or something.
The big secret that our Patreon listeners know is that it is planned. Okay, bye.
All right, man, that was a fun one. Please check out our show notes at reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/268. There's a lot of music videos that we talked about, and you can find the links to all of them there along with our songs of the week. And of course, please hit us up on Twitter at _reminiscentfm. Let us know if you like the German or the English version better, and if you like the Goldfinger better than all of them. Thank you all so much. We're really glad to have you here, and we'll be here next week with an episode you've all been begging us for. Love you all. Bye, everyone.